Hey everyone, this is Mike from the Telefeed team. Today, I'll be showing you all the basics of how to get started with using Telefeed. This brief video tutorial is just the beginning of our introductory series, so be sure to check out our other videos where I'll be explaining and demonstrating in depth how every command works. Alright, let's get started. After clicking Start, you'll notice the Telefeed menu. The first thing you'll need to do in order to start using Telefeed is run the Connect phone number command, so I'll click on the Connect button at the top of the menu. After doing that, you'll notice two buttons, the Text Help menu button and the Read Manual button. Telefeed empowers its users with both a brief text help menu that explains what a command does, and a more in-depth user manual. By clicking the user manual, you'll be linked to the Telefeed's documentation, where you can learn everything there is to know about any command you may find yourself using. By scrolling through the table of contents, you can select any command you may be curious about. Now let's get back to running the Connect phone number command. Here in today's video, I'll be using my own phone number, so the command I type in will reflect that. See how I typed in /connect 30699425178? Just remember that when you run this command yourself, you'll be typing in your own phone number. After we run the command, Telefeed will ask us for a code which we'll get on Telegram. As it explains in the pop-up menu on your screen, Telefeed needs this code in order to forward messages from private channels and in order to rewrite as a user. Other bots that don't use a code like this can only forward messages after you add the bot to the source and destination chats, while also granting read and write access. So this code is just a way of making things more convenient for you. Here we can see that my login code is 69196. Once you receive the code, don't simply input it via chat, because that code will eventually expire, and you'll need to repeat this process anytime that happens. Instead, add the letters AA before the code, so Telegram knows not to expire it. So that means if your code is 1234, you'll submit it as AA1234. So now I can go back and enter my code as AA69196. And if you have two-factor authentication enabled on Telegram, you'll need to input that code to Telefeed as well. And don't forget to add AA to that password too. But if you don't have two-factor enabled, then you can just skip this step. And once we've done all that, Telefeed will let us know that we've connected successfully. You'll then receive a notification that a client with the name Telefeed is connected. This is normal. Telefeed has its name in front, followed by a version number and Telefeed client. Now we can run the config command to verify that we are indeed connected as expected. Now I'm going to briefly demonstrate how to create two unique Telefeed redirections. First, we run the /redirection command. Here you can see both the text help menu and read manual buttons I mentioned earlier. It's important to note that redirection is one of the commands that takes add, remove, and change as arguments. When using the add argument in the command, it replaces and does not expand your current configuration. So if you want to add multiple redirections, make sure you always use unique redirection IDs. In order to set up a redirection, we first need to run the chats command. This command will show us all available chat IDs for use with the redirection command. If a chat ID doesn't appear when we run chats, then we cannot use it with redirection. And remember to type in your phone number when running chats yourself. After getting the chat IDs, we can run redirection, including an add argument, the name of the setup, in this case setup1, and your phone number. Then I can just scroll back up so I can see the chat IDs again. Then I just copy and paste the source and destination ID. As you can see on screen, when I type the command, I'm using a dash to separate the source and destination IDs. The redirection syntax allows for only one dash symbol, so if you use more than one, you'll run into an error. Telefeed allows for a one-to-one, many-to-one, and many-to-many redirections. For a more detailed guide, I suggest you check out our redirection tutorial. After sending our input, a success message will pop up, letting us know that things worked as expected. Now I'm going to move on to creating a second redirection titled Setup2. So I'll follow the same steps I did for the previous setup, except this time, when I scroll up to see the chat IDs, I'm going to use a different source and destination. After creating both these setups, I'm going to run the config command just to make sure that everything is running as I want it to. And you'll notice that the config menu has two entries now. One called Setup1 and another called Setup2. Here we can verify that we're using the right IDs and that the setup is indeed active. Remember not to use Setup1 as the redirection ID twice. or else we'll end up with just one setup, which would have been the latest one, since using add with redirection replaces configurations. And now I'll move on to demonstrating that Telefeed perfectly mirrors everything from source to destination. First, I'm going to test setup 1 by going to the source 1 chat. First, I type in a simple message, but Telefeed also mirrors edited messages and chat replies as well. Even deletions are perfectly mirrored from source to destination. Now I switch to the destination 1 chat, and you can see that everything is mirrored exactly as I wrote it in the source chat. Setup 2 also works at the same time as setup 1. You can have multiple redirections active simultaneously. Now I'll briefly touch on the various Telefeed features at your disposal. The transformation command allows you to alter a message's content in your redirection mirror. White and blacklist are used to filter incoming messages based on keywords, so if you want to block a message when it contains a specific keyword, you'll need to use blacklist. Select users allows you to filter messages based on user type, such as admins, normal users, bots, or user ID. Clone does the opposite of redirection. Instead of working on new messages, it works on old ones. Basically, you use this when you want to mirror all the messages a source currently has. Watermark is used to watermark media based on a logo or image you've given to Telefeed. Delay is used to delay incoming messages for a defined amount of time. Scheduler allows you to control when you want Telefeed to be powered on or off. And last but not least, Affiliate allows you to invite your friends to use Telefeed and earn money. Each user you invite that purchases a paid plan on Telefeed will earn you up to 50% of the payment. By scrolling to the bottom, you'll be able to find your personally generated affiliate link. To see Telefeed settings, you can either run /settings or click the button on the menu. In this part of the video, I'll briefly cover some of the settings found here, but if you want to know more, make sure you check out the user manual. After reaching this menu, you'll be prompted to select your phone number. If you have multiple phone numbers connected, you'll see them all here. After clicking on a phone number, you'll see your current active setups listed. In bot settings, you can control the settings for your entire account, such as disconnecting, turning off and on Telefeed, or checking out your configuration backups. For now, I'm just going to click back and show you Setup 2's settings menu. Here you can disable your redirection, change its settings, or apply filters and cleaners. Next up is the redirection settings. In this menu, you can control things such as processing replies and edits, and here you can even enable Process Me, which will ignore your own messages when mirroring. In this menu, you can also choose to enable Process Forward. All this does is add the title of the source chat as a header to the mirror in your destination. By default, Telefeed writes these as the user, so this feature is off. When it's turned on, Telefeed will instead forward messages with the Forwarded From tag. Filters allow you to remove whole messages from your destination mirror. Here you can control what exactly is filtered. Cleaner is similar to filters in that instead of filtering the message, it instead removes the offending part. If we turn on URLs and cleaning, Telefeed will mirror the message while removing every URL found. And remember, you can always run /config to verify your settings and configurations. Lastly, you can run /clear to clear your current configuration. Make sure to only run this command when you want to delete everything on your configuration. Some users mistakenly run this command to fix their issues. You should never do that. Telefeed should always work as long as your configuration is set up properly and you have the correct files. Config shows that all our setups have been deleted. I'll be talking more about filtering in the next video tutorial. See you later.